Hello and welcome to today's session. I'm just making a couple of changes, just bear with me one moment. Just adding something to the web page. I'm just trying to add that and make sure it saves, because there's a bit of detail as to directions, different pivot points, and so on. So I'm just going to plot those in and just check if they're right. Just having a look. Some of those levels aren't correct anyway, so don't worry too much about today, but basically from now on I will be adding a range of notes to the session so that you can go and actually watch and have a look at some of the details before we get into it. So that'll be starting, I guess, probably from tomorrow. I've got it there today, but it needs a bit of work. We've got the pivot points here today. We are opening fairly close to that close gap. So hello, Christopher. Thanks for joining again. It's great to see you back. Very close to that close gap, meaning it's an efficient market, meaning that we need the market to move before we get a good decision on. So what I'm hoping for is perhaps either way, a push in either direction. Basically, we're looking for a connection with one of these levels. So be it the pivot, probably not the high, but we'll see. But probably one of these orange or yellow levels a bit further out. So we need a bit of momentum in order to actually find a decent trade in this session. So I've popped the live trading the DAX global finance trading website link there, so you can actually go check out. If you don't want to come to YouTube every day, you can actually go and see that website. I do try and update it most of the time, but if you get lost, it's not a bad way to go and find the live sessions. I'll be updating the notes probably from tomorrow so that we have a bit of an idea written down in the pre-market. And then also we've got the Discord channel there. So in the Discord, what I do is after the session, I don't stay on live all day. I just watch the open, kind of describe what I'm looking for. And then in the Discord channel, there's a bit of back and forth. If you want to get involved, join the community and just have a bit of back and forth about what you think the market's doing, what you're actually trading. And I'll be in there to and from when I'm making decisions as well. So good way to stay in touch after this live session and have a bit of a community there. As for the trading, look, really, I think the nature of it is bullish, but I'd love to see a bit of a pullback in order to get in. So we're just going to have to watch for that initial movement to see if we can get any activity going on. Now, got a bit of build up here. I guess that's quite positive. I'll check the multiple time frames as well, just to see if there's any value there. It's all very centralized, not too much. So yesterday we reached the daily Bollinger Band and rejected quite nicely, but now we're back inside, so nothing really to look at there. The 4 hour looks like it is starting to turn down, and perhaps hopefully we'll get a bit of momentum to the downside. We'll see how that pans out. On the 1 hour, look, again, nothing too much there. 30-minute, nothing there, very central. So it's a very efficient market today. We need something to happen to shake the market up. So let's hope that we get a bit of volatility to knock this market out of its, I guess, happy zone, so that we can then, as traders, move it back to where it should be. So that's, I guess, a trader's job, is to get the market to move back to where it should be, provide that liquidity and get that motion so that the markets are liquid. Now, big contract there, 34. That could be an aggressive buy. And the market's moving up pretty quickly. So I'm really tempted. I'd love to just get in. I'm just going to change the quantity to 1. I don't want to go too hard. If we start seeing a bit of buying coming in real quick, see if we get a spike. I'm getting in there. I'm in for 1 contract. Look, this thing's probably going down pretty hard now. Look, so I'm in for one contract, but I'm going to add to it because I do think we're going to come up and touch this close gap. I would say that's unfilled from this point here. We're about 10 points away, so I don't think that's filled as such. I'd love to add a bit more volume into this. If we come down a little bit further, it would be ideal, because from here we're kind of in the middle of nowhere. It wasn't a great place for me to get in, so that was a bit silly, but it's only one contract on a micro. So just note that I'm trading the micro, but I'm looking at the FDAX full contracts and the FDAX Mini. Now on the Mini, it looks like we've got a bit of support coming in here at this price. Looks like selling on the full contracts though, and we just had 20 contracts there as probably a buy limit, but it could be aggressive selling still. Bit of thin volume here. We're just waiting and watching to see what the market provides us, because what I said earlier, when it's an efficient market, traders don't really have a place. So we're looking for, I'm going to add probably a couple more contracts from here. Oh, missed it. Get me in. So that's the problem when you're trading on the depth of market. If you hit the limit orders, sometimes you miss your entry. So you might save a tick, but ultimately if you think the market is moving in that direction, often, so I'm in for 4 contracts here. I actually realized yesterday that I can trade up to 40 contracts because it's a micro. So I'm not limited at 4, because what I did was when I went to close it, I clicked on the wrong side of the depth of market. It added, it went up to 8 contracts, and then I checked the Apex site, and turns out you can do up to 40. So I've got a lot more room to play with in terms of volume on the micros, which is good to know. So I'm at full 4 contracts there. We've got a lot of activity going on here. We are at the 24,000 flat mark on the CFD charts. So we may see a bit of a reaction here, but ultimately it would be ideal if we can come down and perhaps touch the pivot and have a really strong push higher. So we'll just have to wait and see if we get that push. I do think that at some point today we should fill this close gap because it was so efficient in pre-market. So we'll just have to see if we can get that activity. 40 contracts on the buy side, I think there. Hopefully that's big enough to start moving it, but we've got 42 contracts on the bid side and 38. So it looks like the sellers are currently stronger. So they're just battling it out right now, and we'll see who kind of takes control. I think the sellers have it for the moment, and we're just waiting to see. So very thin volume. We're looking for a really big order to come either side, really, to indicate that perhaps the market's about to turn around. So that's why we use the order flow, is to, I guess, get a lead on what other traders are doing. Bit of build up here, but I don't know if it's enough. Love to come down and hit this pivot. Also note, so the account's currently at 25,979. Been charged a few fees there by looks, but so I've got, what is it, $531 or a little bit less to actually pass the challenge. So I can't pass today, but I can pass tomorrow. So if I can get $450 profit today or thereabouts, I'll be very close to passing, and then hopefully I can knock it over the next day. So we'll just see if that pans out for us. Quite a bearish kind of notion here, getting a bit of build up in the volume, but I think, you know, we're kind of in the middle of nowhere, so it's not a great place to trade. Currently sitting at about $150 loss. So we'll see if we can find a better place to perhaps add some more volume. So we'll just see how we go. 8 contracts there, slightly thin, but it's nothing too indicative of what's about to happen. 15, a bit more there. We really want a big contract to say, right, this is it. But a lot of the time, Looks like a bit of fake out to the long side, potentially. We've got a new 5-minute candle. As you might recall, we often get a bit of a fake out to the opposite direction, but this might be it. This might be the actual turn point. But often when it's a new 5-minute candle, well, 40 contracts there, that could be aggressive selling, so just be aware of that. Hasn't turned the market the other way yet, so that's good for my position. But it's just a bit hard to read because it's in the middle of nowhere. It's a strange place to do a buy limit. So potentially if that's aggressive selling, that's got to weigh in to the downside. But the market's not really reacting to it in that regard just yet. Obviously patience plays a big part here. So just got to wait it out, let these numbers do the talking. It's not an instant reaction, and that looks like aggressive buying there, I would say, unless it's a sell limit. It's quite strange activity right now. We've got a big 48 contract on the bid side, and we haven't really reacted to it, so quite thin volume. We're just not getting that reaction as though it's a sell. So potentially it was a buy limit, and we're about to power up and go towards this close gap, which is my target. Almost back to break even, because we didn't quite hit our second area of entry points. So really just waiting it out. If we can get into a better spot, like look, I do think this is probably going to go up from here, but at the same time, what I'm hoping for is we just pull back a little bit further, give people a better entry point to actually get into the market, and the risk reward is obviously a little better. But we came close to the pivot. Now we're seeing, I guess, some aggressive buying on this area and a massive, what could be a buy limit. Just waiting it out, seeing what the market provides us. As I mentioned, opening so close to that close gap, it's quite an efficient market. And when the market's efficient, it makes it hard to trade because the market is where it should be already, not in a position where we can send it in a certain direction to make it where it should be, thus providing liquidity to the market. Also, just quick note, make sure your quantity is right when you're trading, because sometimes if you put it to a certain amount and forget to change it back, you might be trading with the wrong volume, which can be quite dire when the markets are moving quickly. Just having a look at the UK charts, we've filled that close gap there, so no gap on the FTSE. Looks like it's not moving too much at all. Check the US as well. Look, I think there's some downside there to be had on the US, maybe down to the breakout short. There's a bit of confluence. There's the S1 there as well. So potentially quite a bit more downside to this market before we start coming back up. I'll just see if I can click on the DAX again. Okay. So it looks like this is probably buying by the look of that. Somebody's set a floor. They've done 52 contracts, maybe some aggressive buying on this side, and they're hoping the market goes up to this close and basically copies what the UK is doing. It would be ideal if we can get a bit more buying come in, but it's not really kind of being followed up because I think people are probably scared this is aggressive selling. We are outside the Bollinger Band as well on the 5-minute. Just check the 15-minute. We're outside on that too. Tapped outside, but we're back in on the 30-minute and miles off on the 1 hour. So look, is this the best trading layout ever? Not really. We're not bouncing off anything in particular. I've just got a bullish feel today, but the market could go down. So I'm just waiting for a better indication that the market's taking a particular viewpoint. And this looks like selling to me. So it's a bit concerning that I am long, I do think we'll hit this close gap, but at the same time, these bid side orders indicate selling. A bit more buying coming in, but that could be the new candle fake out. So we've pushed up, and then perhaps it'll form a bit of a wick and we'll head down. But yeah, so far so good. This candle didn't fake us out either, so maybe this is actually buying. So we're in for 4 contracts long. We've just gone past our break even. We'll see if we can continue. Yeah, so look, if we get a bit more momentum, we can pull away. I'll be looking to buy off the pivot and perhaps down off the breakout short in S1. Targeting the close gap. We'll see where we go. I've got to call it there, guys, but all the best with your trading. I'll be on the Discord, on the chat, just letting you know what changes I'm making. But ultimately, I'm hoping we go long. We'll probably have some pullback, which will hopefully create some really good buying opportunity. Anyway, guys, best of luck with your trading. As I said, we'll see how we go on this Apex challenge. If we can get a bit close to the target, and maybe we'll pass this week. Who knows? Anyway, guys, thanks so much for joining. I do appreciate you coming along. I do have to call it at this time. But yeah, basically, I've given you the insight, and hopefully you can work with that. Give us a like, guys. It means that that it is of value to you. So just give me a like if you have enjoyed the session or you get something out of it, even if it's just learning a little bit each day. Really appreciate you guys coming along. So, there's a big contract there, 44. Look, I like the look of that. If we can get a really good rejection, I'll be looking at that. So anyway, I'll leave that with you guys. Best of luck.